My name is Mark Janssens. We've
Yes.
been, communicating digitally, and I'm an MArch student here at the University of Texas at Austin School of Architecture.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining me to answer a few questions for your lecture as part of the lecture series here at the University of Texas at Austin. And this is part of the Lectures and Exhibitions Committee interview series, which is sponsored by Dean Addington.
Okay.
So Patricia, are you you're in Italy right now, I suppose?
In my home, I have the studio and my home all together. I live upstairs, and now I am downstairs in my room, but we work as a team here.
Okay.
Quite a little community.
Yeah. As I understand it, you grew up in Madrid, in Spain, correct?
Not in Madrid, north of Spain, Atlantic side, with no Mediterranean, no center of Spain, just the north, like quite Irish atmosphere. Yes, very always with problems of changing weather and very meteopathic character.
Okay. Well, you studied a bit in Madrid, is that correct?
Sí.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess that leads into my first question, as you speak many languages, and I think there's a comparison there to maybe some design languages, and I wonder if you, as part of a studio which is very multifaceted, focused on product design, but also architecture and interior design. If you kind of dream in those different languages of design thinking, just as you might dream in Spanish and English and Italian, all at the same time.
Well, it's comfortable and not so comfortable for one side. No, I'm Spanish. Then I in the north of Spain we all learned French, and then I began to learn English, and then I went to live to Italy. Then it's a mix of situations, no. And the studio, I don't know, is obviously I think people that they have a main language possibly. Is very interesting because the mind can work on the value of words. I think sometimes people like me, we have it's a bit complex, the idea of mixing and not having a real knowledge of the language I'm expressing myself in this moment. I know, but I think we have to find always the anti-fragile attitude to any fragile situation you have, because I think in the time we are living, especially, I think we have to find the right side of this. But, at the end, the work I choose to do has to do with a kind of analytic side or analysis on curiosity from anything that surrounds you and your culture, anything that can be part of your personal culture, and then to have the capacity of have a synthesis and to create something physically, something which is related with your the tactile side or the view of anything. Then all these things are the real tools I use. Then language, in any case, for me, is still being very important as books.
Yeah. Well, as a with your name on a firm like Studio Urquiola, focusing on many of those different design realms. How do you introduce yourself? Do you call yourself an architect? Do you call yourself a designer, or do you call yourself a thinker, etc.?
No, I study. The title of the studies is architectura. Then I say architects come to me natural. But in the country I live here is many architects are working in connection with many other kind of professions and works. Then it's very open we have a very open way to see how to be an architect. And I obviously in the middle of the research of architecture, in the faculty in Milano, design was a quite capital letters argument, or was something much more important than in Spain when I was a student in Madrid. And then I became a designer too, because I did a lot of exams and I did a thesis in between design and architecture. Then it's a mix of these things. But I say architecto, see, I will say. Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to shift a little bit into the pandemic. I mean, you can ask any interview question with regards to the pandemic. That's a conversation of itself. But as an interior designer and a furniture designer, we spend a lot of our time inside. And so I wonder if the pandemic has really shifted your thinking about how your designs progress.
Well, for us, I think not only in relation with our clients, like with the people we are working every day, is I think we are now in the middle of an incredible laboratory or a kind of experimentation of what would be our future. It's obvious like this. Then obviously, I think in the springtime we had the first panic, first situation, and the first reaction that I think was very interesting to focus to at the same time what could mean for me the idea of another kind of use of time, no? And then going slower, creating or changing some habits, and trying to get into the simplicity a lot of energy, then to find a way to survive to that situation. Then we were all the family have two daughters that they were one was living in London, and just a few months before the lockdown, she arrived to Milano. Then we were for first time, another time, four of us in the family and the dog. Then was very interesting to work in both sides, no? And obviously to understand how to become, so to grow my amphibian roots, digital and physical. It's been, but not only for me, we are a team, a quite big team, and most of them, they live not so far away of the studio, and but they were home. Then we were really far away at the same time.
Right.
Then, we had a good technical investment, and we were working quite well from the digital side, but it was not enough, obviously. But I think the first months we were happy enough, even with all the limits you could give us, because we really were aware. I think after summer, I think in October and November and December and January, we are in another situation, and we are trying to, I don't know, for example, after Christmas, we began to work more together. We are quite organized. We come in little teams. We don't, we are very organized now. Then we can work by digital, but we can do little teams too. That is, we are very proud about this physical new situation. And that is helping us a lot for the project, because I think in design and architecture, you have a lot of discussions and a lot of serendipity that comes from those discussions. And you need it. I think that is fundamental. Then we are trying to create part of this. And this is the same is happening with, for example, Cassina is a company I'm doing art direction. Then at the beginning, we were really digital relations, and now we are recreating partially some physical new things. And we are inventing a new way. But I think anything we are learning now, we are gonna take it for the future, and we are gonna, I'm never happy enough. Obviously, as now, it's so limitative. I'm speaking with you, but to touch the distance is so difficult, So, but I think that's going to oblige people who are giving us those programs to connect, to work in a better way. It's going to make us accept that we could travel less. We could travel not for work as we needed till now. That I think was even ridiculous. And we are going to find a way to be creative through these media. Then I think we have a lot to explore. Right?
Yeah, and embracing those sort of serendipitous, positives that come out of the situation. It sounds like that's what your studio is doing. Well, in terms of maybe before the pandemic, your art has, or sorry, your work has been exhibited in places like the MoMA,
Mm.
and I'm wondering if seeing your work or your studio's work on exhibit, if that changes how you appreciate it, or you think about your design, maybe even in 3 dimensions, like a piece of furniture from the back, for instance.
Allora, first, if there is a possibility, and also they include you in an exhibition, and they think is interesting something you've done, is always a honor, and is a big energy we all need comunque to be helped from that side. But what I think is I really from I think as designer, my museums are houses, as is how I see people using them, houses or places where people use things. And so that is because it was my first choice to work, to not exhibit in a special space, to always to get into the domesticity of others, and then at the end that is. And what I like, but for example, I was thinking in America, I had a strange experience that was so beauty in Philadelphia Museum that I couldn't imagine that this could happen, and was very, it was like a dream for me. That was really fantastic. But now we've been in this last month participating in a museum exhibition. But I like it because I worked on this exhibition, no as they didn't choose one of my work. I was not like an artist. I was like a designer. And that was interesting because they had a main space where there is an incredible glass piece of art in this very big space in the ceiling. And then they have some ottoman on the floor for a long time. And then it was a little bit, those things that you do of design, but they are a little bit, something is not working. And they asked to someone who is, I know this museum, the NGB, and they asked me, how can you work and give us some new pieces to sit on the floor? And then I said, in the moment we are going to be part of a triennale, we are going to have a narrative, and then we are going to do something, not just sending you some ottomans. I think we are going to do a little history, and we did a work, and it was a kind of little set of specific, but at the same time is something that's going to help to sit people and to look to that. Then is I think it like a designer, and never arrived. It took a lot of time. Arrived 1 month later because of pandemics. Then there was a lot of emotion in the studio. We were every day waiting for this thing, and at the end just arrived a few weeks ago. And I in a digital way, I'm very happy. I am waiting every day. They send me some images of people using it, and I'm using in the lesson. You will see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look forward to it.
Uh,
Well, you mentioned, it's an honor to be on exhibition in like art museums, for instance. But I wonder if, in the process of receiving those awards, there's something that other people have pointed out about your work that you didn't even see, or maybe vice versa. What you think people still sort of misinterpret about some of your projects?
I think the second thing you say, mm, there are days that with your clients or with a project, you feel that you didn't get enough comprehension, and then. But I don't like to be on this page because I think it's. Can help you to to get frustrations and things like this. I think I like more to think the situations where I didn't think um, I could share a path with someone that I thought at the beginning would be difficult, but in some way, I believe it in them. I have the intuition, and we found a solution. Then for example, like Dejan Sudic, the director of Design Museum in London for a long time, and he was doing a test speaking about design. And we were saying that I don't remember well how he was saying, but he was saying in some way that I'm a person that I created with my commissioners, a kind of journey of exploration on what they didn't even know that they could do or they have. I like this idea of I'm a person that is very empathic in the way I approach, and I like to get into a situation with the others, and I see the project from their sides, and I create a kind of empathic path with, and we explore. I like people that come in the studio and they said, I know this, you never worked on this kind of research, but we know you are going to be open, you are going to understand us. Then I like this kind of attitude that people think I'm experimental, I'm empathic, that then the project is the big argument then. But I like that this is happening a lot now, that this kind of, they don't come for a style, they don't come for something, they say, the more that they know, I am quite open to find with them something that they can have echo. I think that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, open to different possibilities.
Sí.
Just to wrap up here, I'd like to briefly talk about sustainability. Last week, Natalie DeVries of MBRDV was here, and she didn't really use the word sustainability. She used the word multiplicity to describe a kind of sustainability. So I'm wondering how sustainability is approached in your work. Do you kind of have different words for it, or do you approach it from a very top-down point of view?
Well, I think the term, sustainability is a very complex topic and very large. And as we know, I appreciate a lot thinkers as Timothy Morton, that they make us understand that with the hyper objects that many of the arguments that are really concerning us, they are related to a dimension which is so out, that is involving us in a so strong way, and that they are so big, like, as global warming, and this that everything is related to. Then it's something that I think sustainability cross any argument. We did an exhibition about our work, a sample exhibition in Madrid for a festival of design in 1 year ago, last February, and was the last month before the lockdown, and was 1 month in Madrid. And I remember we divided the exhibition very simple in 5 arguments, doing different kind of association in between my different projects, but there was not one related to sustainability. It was you were founded the argument through them. Then it was a kind of crossover of all this. Then I think it's an argument that we have to go more deep in many situations. Arguments. I understand when you say many architects, they are speaking about more precise, but I think in the way we are working with Cassina now, I think is obviously is the most important argument. We are. The situation that we all know. I think, for example, as I like it a lot. One thing of I had the luck to know Olaf Aureliusson, and he did an exhibition now in this time and in Tokyo in pandemics. He thought we would never open, and they opened, they closed. I don't know how it's working now, and he was. I think that one argument was very interesting, but it was a conversation between him and Tim Morton. And I think what is very interesting, I think, the algorithm, which is the base of all what we can get for these hyper values and all the possibilities of digital, any kind of technological possibilities we have today, comes from the past, because comes from all our the anthropocenic attitude. The algorithm come from past, but the art they were speaking is for Morton comes from the future. Would be the only possibility sometimes with the sensibility of artists to get something from future. Then in some way lighter and more involving us in another way. And they were doing a fantastic conversation. I will love that the students you can get this conversation between Olaf Aureliusson and it was very enlightening for me, Echo and Timothy Morton. Very interesting.
Well,
they explain much better than me, Echo, this argument, and we need a lot of talks about this. I think we need to think and
just the conversation. We have to have the conversation. We have to hear many voices. Well, Patricia, thank you so much for joining me personally and being a part of the Spring 21 lecture series here at the University of Texas at Austin. And I look forward to listening to your lecture. And I guess I'll see you over in that other Zoom room with all the guests.
I've never been in Texas, Echo. I've been in Arizona. I arrived the nearest I arrived was Arizona. And I love to travel through America. Then perhaps it will happen.
Well, maybe when the pandemic's over, you'll come over here and I'll go over there, and because I've never been to Italy before. So
yes, that I think is well, that's going to happen. Come on, that's going to possible. That's going to be even more possible.
Okay. Well, again, great talking to you.
We are here. We wait for you with anyone who is. I think they're going to do a lot of incredible parties and things after this pandemic. Ciao.
It's going to be a good day.
I think so. For all of us. Ciao.
Okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye.